Welcome to Galactic Review. Today I got a tip about some valuable treasure located in a game called Lucifer Ring. I've set course to explore this media and try to find the 4 valuable silver rings that I've heard are contained within. Lucifer Ring was originally a Japanese exclusive title for the PlayStation 1, developed by Soft Machine and published by Toshiba EMI in 1998. It was later imported to the US by MonkeyPaw Games in 2014 on the PlayStation Network. This is a beat-em-up action game with a fantasy anime style. You play as a character named Nash. No, not that Nash. This Nash, who seems to be a swordsman wandering the land in search of adventure and challenge. He's basically your typical anime hero guy, complete with a rival counterpart named Lars. No, not that Lars. This Lars. I think he's also a swordsman, probably with some kind of a chip on his shoulder. It appears that Nash is looking for these 4 silver rings I heard about. On his quest, he will fight against all manner of fierce monsters, like goblins, skeletons, and Bob. Frightening, terrifying, purple Bob. You know, Bob. Bob's your uncle.
Uncle Bob?
There are also those annoying mimics that show up in various games. You know, they mimic a treasure chest, but when you go to open it, they attack you. And there are ghosts that look like dollar store versions of Slimer from the Ghostbusters. There's also a werewolf.
I am the werewolf!
No, not that kind of werewolf. This werewolf. Nash will use his skill as a swordsman to dispatch of these enemies. This includes a weak, quick attack with the square button, a slower but stronger attack with the X button, and a special attack with the triangle button. Nash can chain some of these attacks together in a combo. He can also run with the R1 button and jump with the circle button. It would be nice if there was some type of dodge or block button, but as it turns out, the special attack provides a few frames of invincibility, which can be used as a blocking substitute. I would guess that the designers didn't intend this because it seems a little bit cheap, but in lieu of an actual block button, I don't mind using it. Nash starts the game with a normal sword, but along the way he can pick up a fire, ice, lightning, and holy sword. Naturally, some enemies have a weakness to one particular type of sword. The type of sword you're using also dictates which magic attack you are able to use. You can use a magic attack by pressing triangle when your SP bar is full. You know, for a swordsman, Nash really holds his sword in a weird way when he's walking. Is he trying to shield his face with it or something? It seems like this would be dangerous if he trips and falls. Oh well, fortunately for him, the developers didn't create a tripping and falling animation, so I guess he doesn't need to worry about it. There's a little clock in the top left corner of the screen, and it took me a while before I figured out what it was for. It's a stage timer and you die if it runs out, but they give you so much time that I never ran out during regular play. Nash will travel through 5 different areas in the game, including a forest, caves, and a castle. Some of the stages have hidden alternate areas to explore, which generally yield a useful pickup item. The last stage can be frustrating because of the deadly chasm and the annoying birds that try to knock you into it. As you proceed through the stages, you'll encounter sub-bosses, which will be Nash's rival Lars on a couple of occasions. Then at the end of the stage, you'll fight a proper boss. The bosses are pretty cool. There's a dragon, a minotaur, and a snake monster. Once all 4 rings are collected, we can fight the final boss, Hell's Gate. After I pillage these rings from the game, I should be able to make a nice profit once I find the right buyer. But wait, what's happening? Where are my valuable rings going? They've turned into crystals. Oh crap, now I know what's going on here. This whole time Nash has been in hell and he uses the rings to open Hell's Gate for a chance to escape. Great, looks like I won't be able to steal the rings after all. Looks like I won't be stealing the crystals either, because naturally Nash has to destroy each of them before he can finally destroy Hell's Gate itself. Man, I came to this game to find treasure, not help some guy escape hell. And piling on to the frustrations is the fact that the boss room also has a deadly chasm, resulting in some cheap deaths, especially when the camera view switches on you during the boss's mega beam attack animation. Anyway, this fight isn't too bad, especially if you take advantage of the invincibility frames from the special attack. And once you defeat Hell's Gate, Nash presumably gains his freedom from Hell. Unfortunately, I gained no treasure. This game is pretty short, and I was able to beat it in under an hour. After you beat it the first time, the game promises that something will happen if you just try to beat it one more time. How could I resist such an enticing proposition? Of course I want something to happen, so I went ahead and started the game again, and this time it lets you choose which type of sword you want to use, making it a lot easier to beat it for the second time. I still didn't get to keep the silver rings though. So what is this mysterious special thing that will happen after beating the game for a second time? It's a stage select. That's it. You just get to choose what stage you want to play now. I was expecting something a little more interesting, like an alternate ending where plants start making people commit suicide, or a concept art gallery. Despite the lack of a more fulfilling reward for beating the game, Lucifer Ring is a pretty decent beat-em-up that's good for a couple hours of fun at least. Beat-em-up games like this didn't always turn out as well in 3D as they did in 2D, and became less common in the late 90s. But this game really feels like a nice 3D version of a classic beat-em-up like Golden Axe, with a splash of vintage Castlevania. The graphics are pretty good for a PlayStation 1 game. I like the anime style and some of the monsters look pretty cool, especially the bosses. The music and sound effects are really nice too, with some good songs and some cool sword sound effects. The story seems pretty basic, but it services the gameplay well enough. Overall, Lucifer Ring is a fun action game on the PS1 that helps carry the torch of the beat-em-up genre into the era of 3D games. It's a little bit short, but it's a well-made and fun game with some cool stuff in it. And even though I didn't get that valuable treasure I was after, I guess the adventure and challenge was still entertaining, so I'd say it's a good game. Well, that's all for this Galactic review. Thanks for joining me, everyone. If you liked the video, please go ahead and let me know down below. And if you want to continue to explore the galaxy of media with me, please go ahead and subscribe. Until next time, Captain Shinobi signing out.